another while of me, laugh and drink and say there was something, but you say there was nothing, but you say it with a smile. Whoa.
Hello. Welcome to the Fifth Quarter Fantasy Cast. I'm your host, Coach V. And I'm joined by my co-host and best buddy, who wasn't here last week, but he's here this week, Dr. Dry.
Hello to all 0 of our viewers. Yeah, I couldn't be here last week. Unfortunately, we had a death in the family, but I'm back this week, and ready to rock. Just got through a 3-month-long job search, so I'm a new man, a man who makes more money than my 6-month-old. So finally. So anyway, very excited. A lot to overcome there. To anyone listening who's kind of going through something, listen to those people in your corner. Get yourself out of your head. Once you start loving yourself, everything will be okay.
And you're so much wiser 3 months later.
I am, yeah. Kind of learned a lot about myself. Learned that I'm still him. Just sometimes you gotta, fall down to get back up, and stars land on the moon. So that's where I'm at now.
Wow, I think you used every head coach phrase during a press conference, right? That was all of them. Like you
Yeah,
hit
gotta
bingo.
use those cliches.
Just take it one day at a time. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, one game at a time, and that's what we do. So anyway, Coach V, how has your week been? And also shout out to Coach V and praise Peepaw for doing such a great job last week. I felt like that was Peepaw's coming out, not out of the closet, but coming out party. And I think he did a stellar job. And Coach V, as always, bringing that fire. Great job on the breakdowns last week. So thank you for filling in, but Daddy's back now, so we're back.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that Peepaw is Peepaw, but like Peepaws, they're for fun. They're just there to hand out candy to the grandkids. They're not there. Dad is really who keeps things on track, and so we're going to be, a lot better this week. But we did a good job, and I did it with COVID.
You played injured. The greats play injured.
So I missed work on Monday last week, but I came to the podcast. Like that's
what's important.
Air, and yeah, so I don't have any more COVID. I didn't pass COVID on to anyone. I stayed 6 feet away from everybody, and whatever, F COVID. So it's no big deal. But yeah, it's been a good week. Things are really heating up with the first round of like real preseason games have happened, and fantasy stuff is right around the corner. As a superfan Matt mentioned in the comments, we do have our trades opening up in one of our dynasty leagues at 9 a.m. And so we know superfan Matt will be super active, sending out all the trades. He's a Jahmyr Gibbs owner, isn't he?
He is, yeah. I am in my other one too. So
I'm sure he's stressing about this hamstring injury or whatever that is, and maybe he's going to put him on the trade block. Who knows? We could all.
Who knows? Yeah, I know. I'm starting to get really excited about season long. That's kind of where my heart's at right now. Always a dynasty boy, but I don't know, something in the air once you get into August and start doing some mocks just for some season long stuff. It's special. It's something that's important. So I mean, yeah, we do got trades opening up in the Butt Cheese Boy Invitational, my Dynasty League. And we have our rookie draft starting on Saturday. It's a slow draft, so we'll probably still be in it whenever we have Monday's show and Peeps is back with us. So yeah, I mean that's but I also got to go to the 2024 Fantasy Football Expo, and I went. This is my second year in a row going. Lots of fun. I went by myself. I was there for about 45 minutes and dipped out. But just didn't feel like doing too much socializing with strangers, but I met some really cool people. So Anyway, yeah, would love to have. I had a friend go with my buddy Tanner went with me last year. That was a lot more fun. It was kind of last minute. I didn't really ask anybody this year, but excited to tell everyone about it. Um, Vinny, do you have any questions about the expo before I get into it?
Well, I want to know who like wowed you, like who was doing something really original that you liked.
Oh man. All right, we'll start with that one and then I'll just get into everything else. So probably the most unique booth, and this is not the answer you were looking for probably, but most unique booth, this thing called Loser Ball. And this guy basically created a whole new fantasy game. It's basically the opposite of fantasy football. You are targeting not so much players, but teams who you think are going to do bad. So, like New England Patriots, highly sought after. You want to avoid like the 49ers and the Lions.
Yes.
So, like you take three teams, and then you get points for allowing points, interceptions, sacks, penalties, basically everything that you wouldn't want in real life for your fantasy team. And it's called Loser Ball, and it's about and they say may the biggest loser win. And the guy was hilarious. Like the big giveaway. So all these booths have like some sort of giveaway that you can sign up for or try to win somehow. And I had to spin a wheel and it had all these different Cleveland Browns quarterbacks. The goal was to win the Johnny Manziel jersey that was hanging, and that was the big grand prize. I spun the wheel and landed on Deshaun Watson, and he was like, "That's okay. We'll still give you a massage." So uh, good folks over there at Loser Ball. It's something basically it's something where you check out the app. You can play with friends. You can set up your own league. I'm gonna probably send out some sort of invite, get a loser ball league going. And just really more of a like, hey, this is for I wouldn't ever play it for money, but like, something for fun with your buddies that you can just make fun of, bad things happening. Great for if your fantasy season's not going well, you'll have something to cheer for with loser ball. Um, so loser ball. Awesome. First thing that happened when I got there, I went to the Dynasty Trade Calculator booth, and so if anyone knows me or has played with me, they know I like to have the most disgusting team names possible. Just filthy. Like I'm in a church league. I had to kind of change what I'm doing there. I'm the Houston Holy Spirits with that one. Can't be any of the other team names. So anyway, he's like, yeah, log into Sleeper. I'm gonna show you a demo, and it's real public. There's hundreds of people walking by, and a line starts to form behind me and we're working on this laptop. Meanwhile, he has a big TV displayed, and I log into Sleeper, and all 7 or 8 of my leagues are on there, and just the most disgusting words you've ever seen, just you name it. And he's like, "Hey, what team do you want to check out, and who do you want to trade with?" And so I was like, and everyone's just seeing this, and I'm like, just go the Atlanta ass faces. I don't know. And and then the team I wanted to trade with was the Cleveland Cum Lords. So but I was just like, yeah, just go with the Sea Lords. And that's not my team. That's another team that's that's in this. Um and so anyway, all that's happening, and I'm just like, dude, I'm so sorry for what's on display here at the Fantasy Football Expo with all these people and your very professional company. And anyway, so that's how I started it off. And then the rest of the day went pretty normal. Met some really cool people. Just want to give a few shout outs, I guess. So Underdog coming in big with the t-shirt.
Hey, nice.
So, and that I didn't have to pay for this. All I said was, "Hey, love what you guys do. I love spending my money on Underdog, even if I don't have it. We shout you guys out on our 40 subscriber YouTube channel. So Underdog, they were just like, yeah, man, take a t-shirt. What size are you? And they just hooked me up, let me pick what color I wanted. So that was cool of them. So shout out Underdog. Better in green, basically, and that's Bettor in green. They have beautiful draft boards. If you have an in-person draft, you know it's like Christmas Day. You got to have a draft board. I know it's $20 in person. It was one of those with the, it's got the name, it's got the team, it's got the picture on there, so you can, if you draft the very handsome Christian McCaffrey, you can look at him the whole time. Um, or if you Jimmy Garoppolo, like if you're just into drafting handsome quarterbacks, that's where you want to be. So get that draft board over there. Um, Dynasty Rewind, awesome YouTube channel. I watch them a lot whenever I'm doing dishes. So if you're into doing dishes and watching watching Dynasty YouTube, check out Dynasty Rewind. The Fantasy Zone is an app. It's sort of like Red Zone, but for your fantasy team. So across all platforms, and you know how lazy we've gotten. We can't just open up 3 or 4 different apps. So if you got your sleeper teams, your ESPN teams, your Yahoo teams, you can have it all right there in one app, and your DraftKings and your FanDuel, like all your betting and stuff. So it's $2 a month, $10 for the year. Great investment if you're just a fancy junkie like we are. Trophy tiers was really cool. So trophy tiers, they 3D print these trophies. You can completely customize it. It's in the round, so like you can view it all the way around. You can have first place, second place, third place, all that. League name, year, everything. And it's a layered trophy. So basically, you let them know who won it the next year, and they will send you that next level, and it stacks up. So the trophy gets taller and taller the more years you're in. I saw a 12 layer trophy. I saw a 1 layer trophy. So really cool how you can watch that trophy grow.
Nice.
Dynasty decks, something else that you can do if you're allowed to display stuff in the house, and wife doesn't run it, basically you can make like a plaque, and it has a background. It's got you can put like how many points you scored, how many points you averaged, the final score of like the championship game. Just really commemorate that championship season. Thought that was really cool. That's Dynasty Decks with an E. And then Bayou Bengals Fantasy Network. Just really cool guys. They have a YouTube channel. I'm looking forward to watching some of their videos. I know they like to get balls deep into rookies. That's something I like to do. They even said like, "Hey, maybe there's a collab with you guys in the future." I told them about us. I was like shamelessly plugging fifth quarter fantasy cast, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm subscribed to you guys right now." And I think we got 3 extra subscribers on the day, so we went off at the expo without having a
Look
booth.
out, mid
Um,
40s.
yeah, we're shooting for those mid 40s. So and then Dynasty Football Key. I'm terrible with names. I have his card. I think his name's Alex. But love the guy's energy. You can just tell how much he puts into everything, and he does it full time. Really cool guy. Dynasty Football Key. Um, Fancy Fits. They make funny T-shirts. Basically, we had this idea, I think, whenever we were talking about merch that could become still a thing, but these guys do it really well. And they have like stuff like, I don't know, like players' nicknames. Like I saw one that was really cool for Will Levis. It said Billy Jeans, and the Y was like a zipper. And and then they had like a bunch of others. And anyway, yeah, Fancy Fits, they were really cool. But ultimately, those are like kind of the main ones I wanted to shout out. Um, but but lots of cool booths. Everybody was awesome. One thing I love about the Fantasy Football Expo every year, it's like this fantasy thing. It's really a community. So many people play it, millions and millions of people. And anytime you meet somebody that plays fantasy, you're ultimately friends with them. Like it just gives you something to talk about. It's a good, easy go-to and conversation and meeting people for the first time. Everybody at this event just good humans. It's a 3-day event. They have a cornhole tournament, a flag football tournament. It's at the Pro Football Hall of Fame every year in Canton, Ohio. And yeah, I mean, it's usually they have some sort of NFL or ex-NFL player there. I know Des Bryant was there last year, and he's just among the people. Like you can just say hi, shake his hand. But everybody there really down to earth. And I love that it's a family event too. Like Bob Lung is the guy that puts it on. And I swear, people working the front desk, people all around, they were all part of his family. So he just puts the family to work, and they put on this crazy event for 3 days. Happens every year, sometime in the beginning to middle of August. So that is my review on the Fantasy Football Expo for 2024. I know I talked a lot longer than I probably should have, but wanted to share that with the people.
Yeah, well, that's a nice report. People can look forward to your yearly report from the Fantasy Football Expo. There's probably not a lot of that. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's and I wore my silly goose shirt, so like oh, and I did have a good moment with the Dynasty Football Key. He was doing like a giveaway thing where you throw a football into like a fake player's hands or whatever, like a net, and missed bad the first time. Hit the guy in the face. But the second time got it right in there. So that was cool. I won like a couple stickers or something. And then I think the football guys were there. I think that's one of the people you like.
yeah, I like
Yeah, I did. Sigmund wasn't there. Like the main guys weren't there, but they had their flunkies there. So it was pretty cool. And they
okay,
they gave me a beer. They gave me like a beer mug.
nice.
So that was cool.
Hell yeah. Well, that's great. See, we have a presence. FQF. That's 2 years in a row at the Fantasy Football Expo. Um, Maybe someday we'll get a booth. Who knows? People
Yeah,
will come
that's
see
the
us.
goal. Maybe when we get to 44 subscribers.
Yeah, that's the threshold. They don't give you a booth until you get there. So we got our divisional breakdowns. This week we're doing the AFC East and the NFC West, and we're saving the NFC North for Peepaw's return because he's the Lions guy. So the AFC East holds some interesting teams. One of the most butt cheesiest teams is in this division. If you're playing loser ball, then you're going to want the Pates. But so we'll
The
start with
Pates.
the. I always call them the Pates. I don't know why. We'll start with the. That's definitely the sound in the Pates locker room before they head out on the field. So we'll start with the Bills, who are a lot more interesting than the Patriots. So the Bills got rid of Diggs, ended the year last year really just running the ball and saying F their whole passing game. A lot of QB touchdowns on the ground, a lot of RB touchdowns on the ground. So with Diggs being gone, do you think that his targets get shifted to an individual, or do they get spread amongst Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir, or do you think a new kind of Diggs will hop up to the top? Oh,
Well,
oh,
let's just start it off like this. All right, I've already unveiled one member of the God Squad, Malik Neighbors. We're going to go ahead and plant our flag into Dalton Kincaid.
yeah, yeah,
So I think Dalton Kincaid is going to be the main beneficiary of all those vacated targets from Stephon Diggs. Um, he I just think, even though he's not a wide receiver, he's gonna be that first option. We saw what he could do, even living in the shadow of, whatever his name is, that other tight end there
yeah,
who's I think still listed as the starter, Dawson Knox or something.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, like, he needs to just, like, go away.
So
But, Dalton Kincaid, I do think I think it's between him and like maybe another guy for like tight end one this year. I'm really high on Dalton Kincaid. So, and you can get him at like a good price, like fifth round or something. So, very excited about Dalton Kincaid. I do think that they still have a fairly decent receiving core. I'm excited about Keon Coleman. I know he, maybe has some separation issues that he didn't really display well at Florida State. But man, he's huge. He's a fan favorite. Like he's a walking I don't know, just someone that you want to be around. I think he's a very positive person. I think he's definitely a fan favorite. I like Keon Coleman. People are going to draft him off his personality. Don't overdraft him, but you want yourself some of that action with the Buffalo Bills. Khalil Shakir, I think that's someone that like a lot of us were on last year, and it didn't quite go the way we wanted it. Gabe
Yeah.
Davis the year before that. There always seems to be something like that. Maybe this year it's Dalton Kincaid, and I'm way wrong, but I don't know. But yeah, Khalil Shakir, I kind of like that idea for a while there. Like before they drafted Keon, he was like number one. Another one not a lot of people are talking about is um oh what I should have written more notes down. The let's see, Gabe Davis is gone.
Yes.
Who's that other guy that was with Washington?
Um, with Washington.
I know Superfan Matt knows. He likes him. Curtis Samuel.
Oh yeah. They brought him in.
Yeah, that could be a really good late round pick for somebody.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are there. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of targets to go around. I don't think any of these guys are gonna be yelling at their quarterback like Stephon Diggs and like ruin the chemistry or anything. And I do think Diggs is kind of a cancer to the organization, so I think they get rid of that. Josh Allen. I think he still finishes as a top 5 quarterback. I don't think he finishes 1. I think that's kind of up for debate. I think Mahomes might take it again this year. But yeah, I mean, overall, pretty spread out. Um, were you buttocking?
Yeah, there was a little bit of a buttocks going on.
Nice.
Holding back a cough.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, what do you think as far as that goes, and what do you think about Dalton joining the God Squad?
I like Dalton on the God Squad. I'm a big Kincaid guy. I was kind of like a year early on him. Like I overdrafted him last year, but that's
Yeah.
fine. In the leagues where I still have him, I'm happy. Uh, and but I'm just kind of down like on the passing game overall. Like I think someone's gonna get it. I hope it's Kincaid. But I think they're gonna keep doing what worked for them at the end of the season, which was just run the f- out of the ball. So if
Yeah.
you're into James Cook and all that business, because I don't know, I just see the passing game slowing, not like going away, but just not emphasizing it as much as they had in the past because it worked at the end of the year last year. Like they went on that huge run by focusing on running and not on passing so much. So
Yeah, and game flow can change that too. I mean, I don't know. I've always disliked James Cook. I'll probably never draft him. They drafted Ray Davis. I think he's an interesting possible late pick. Like if you like missed on a bunch of running backs, or if you're in a really deep league, take a shot at Ray Davis. Um, he's a good PPR back too. But yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. Like whenever they made that switch, I think it was because they got a new offensive coordinator.
yeah.
And yeah, hopefully, I don't know. I hope the passing game comes back. I just love a good passing offense, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I mean, I hated it. I hated what happened to the offense when they switched to running. So I want to see them throw the ball around too. So hopefully they
Yeah.
find a balance there. Dolphins next. So the Dolphins, a very much interesting team, very much the same team as last year with all the same good pieces, with hopefully a more healthy Waddle, who was kind of never right from that abdominal injury to start the year last year and kind of played through that all year long. So hopefully, even healthier Waddle. But I mean, Tyreek and Achan and Waddle and um, Raheem Mostert, he could be a thing, I guess, if he doesn't get hurt. Maybe he doesn't get hurt anymore. Maybe that's his new thing is I'm the healthy guy now. Tua is a value at the back end of the draft. So HN year 2, do you believe in that, or are the health concerns weighing heavily on your decisions with HN?
It I could see myself taking him. It depends on who else is on the board. He's not someone that I have to have, but he's not someone I'm avoiding. He was like really efficient last year. I do think there's going to be a little regression there. It's just really hard to maintain that high efficiency rate that he had.
Yeah.
I don't believe in Raheem Mostert. I know a lot of people take him late. I love me some rookies. Jalen Wright. I think it's going to be Jalen Wright season about halfway through the year. And I think he's better built to take on that workload that Raheem Mostert carries. I think Devon Achane, great change of pace back. Definitely get that man his touches because he's dynamic when he gets the ball. He's fast AF. But Jalen Wright's also very fast. He had a really good combine. Has never really been the lead back in Tennessee. When he was at Tennessee, he was always splitting, but he was kind of still like he was still him. He was the main guy. So, I could see Jalen Wright taking over after Raheem Mostert gets injured. I call injury we call injuries on this channel. I mean, you either believe or don't believe.
Yeah.
So, like I don't know, like CMC. I'm not comfortable taking him till like the eighth player off the board because I think his workload, he had 450 touches last year.
Yeah.
This is kind of a hot take. We'll save it for whenever we get to him. But stay going off because it was on my mind. But yeah, I think Jalen Wright takes over that backfield. But HM will still get his. It'll probably be more of a split. Um, but I mean, Tyreek Hill, he's still doing it. He's 30, but he's had a few more kids in the off season, so he has to keep playing. Got to be able to afford a good, be able to provide for those children, and you don't want to be a bum father. So, not everybody can take 3 months off like this guy. So, um, so so I mean, Jalen Waddle, like, definitely someone that you're drafting. I think you feel a lot better with him as your wide receiver 2 than you do your wide receiver 1, and you kind of find him at the end of second, beginning of third. So, you kind of feel out your team. But I don't know, that's kind of sometimes how I look at my team. Like, am I comfortable with this dude as my wide receiver 1? Or is he a wide receiver 2? Like Brandon Ayuk feels more like a wide receiver 2, but people will be drafting him as their wide receiver 1. So, it's and then Parker Washington, another I think that's his name, or Malik
Yeah.
Washington. I don't know.
I think it's
Yeah, yeah, Washington. But he like led FBS in catches, yards, or something like that over at Virginia. Someone to keep an eye on if there is any injuries. Might be a popular waiver wire guy if there are any injuries to that wide receiver core. But I mean, it's going to be a loaded offense again this year. Mike McDaniel, genius. So I hope that they have one of those Denver Broncos games like they did last year and just hang 70 on somebody. And because we love to see that.
Yeah, I want to see the Dolphins put it all together. And I want to see them, compete for the division, or I don't know. I want them to win a bunch of shit. So
Yeah.
they're fun to watch. And Superfan Matt chiming in there. Looks like he agrees. Mostert just needs to go down and stay down.
Yeah, I mean, and those who believe in most are like not trying to convert you or anything, but and not trying to like down the guy, but like shit, he was hurt every year except for the last like 2 years.
Yeah.
And are you betting on a 32-year-old running back to be healthy a third year in a row whenever he hasn't strung together 2 healthy seasons? Like, I don't know, it just seems like more of an outlier than anything. I don't want to put all that on a 32-year-old injury prone running back. Count me out.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice for there to be a little change over there with the running backs. So hopefully, the New England Patriots are next. The butt cheesiest team in the league? ? So butt cheese boys alert, plural, with the whole New England Patriots organization. So not a lot of expectations for this team to do anything this year. They got Drake May. They got at quarterback.
Joe Milton?
Yeah, I mean that could
The
be more.
Zap attack?
Yeah, I mean that could be way more fun. Is if we just go ahead and get past Drake May and play some of that. So, but I mean Ramondre's still there. Yeah, I mean the only thing I wrote down for the Patriots, are there any value players here? People that you would take just because it's cheap.
Um, so it's kind of a pick your poison, and then some people, someone you can get late. Somebody's got to be the wide receiver one there.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's pretty much. Do you believe in Pop Douglas? Do you believe in Jalen Polk, or do you believe in Javon Baker? So I was really big on Javon Baker. I'm starting to kind of come off of him a little bit, just because I just don't see myself being in a league deep enough outside of Dynasty to go get him. And I don't know, I haven't heard the best things. Like he hasn't really stood out or anything. There were times where I guess he has, but I mean, you got Polk who has the draft capital over him. You got Demario Douglas who that might be the most likely wide receiver one. And he actually had like some efficient metrics and everything. I know you're a Demario Douglas guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I
Or
would have him
kind of.
on. I would take him on and off last year whenever it looked like something was going to happen, but just nothing was really happening. But this is a new coach, maybe a new outlook. I hope a new outlook. They really don't have much to lose, so why not just air it out and have some fun? And Pop Douglas could be the move.
Yeah, yeah. And then also isn't didn't they just cut doo doo shit's poopster?
Yes, yeah,
Good. That's a good thing. Like, 'cause he was just clogging, like, he was a roster clog, like, that guy, like, I don't know. And, I don't know, maybe this is the old man get off my lawn in me, but, like, any player that's, like, so dedicated to their TikTok dances, and they're more known for their TikTok dances than their play on the field is no good to me. So, like, and there's a trend there. There's, Juju, there's, Chase Claypool, like, usually either out of the league or pretty dang close, going team to team and still doing their stupid ass TikTok dances. So, that's I'm glad he's off the team, and one of these three, and all three of those receivers that we were kind of mentioning, very good. Um, they just need the opportunity, and hopefully they can get them the ball. And also, it is exciting that they're under a new regime where they're probably going to be passing more.
yeah,
Um, they did add Antonio Gibson into that backfield, but I think it's Ramondre's to lose. Um, and do they still have Hunter Henry at tight end? That might be more. That might be a thing.
yeah. I think they still have Hunter Henry, and he kept trying to be a thing like every 3 weeks last year. It was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, get Hunter Henry, you
yeah.
know.
Like if you can't, if I don't know, say all your tight ends are getting injured and you just need a guy, like it's like I guess I'll take Hunter Henry. Like not a bad choice.
He was
So
definitely like the 2023 fantasy slut of the year, Hunter Henry.
yeah, yeah, definitely one of the fantasy sluts of the year.
So, final team, way more interesting. The Jets this year, with Rodgers back, and if he's good and good enough, Garrett Wilson can thrive with any quarterback throwing the ball to him. Brees Hall really starting to hit his stride, coming back from injuries and whatnot. So the Jets could be a really interesting team. Rogers, I mean, it's all on him. I mean, everyone's job's on the line, his job's on the line, the coaching staff's job's on the line.
Yeah.
Something's either going to happen or not happen here with Rogers, and so I, I'm curious. Are you a Rogers guy?
Like personally, or
No, not personally, just like fantasy wise. Are you a Rogers guy?
um, I don't think so. I
Yeah,
like I think last year at the beginning kinda, but like I don't know. Like I think he's going undrafted, but he might be a good dark horse shot in the dark at the end if you need like a QB2 and everyone's gone and you're trying to shoot for the moon, because he's either gonna have a pretty good ceiling or a very low floor.
yeah,
One thing about Rodgers, he loves throwing touchdowns from the 1 yard line. So you're not getting those rushing touchdowns like you would with like a Hurts or something, um but you're at least, he's not just conceding to the running back. So I mean, yeah, he's I think I'm more interested in the situation around him and I think he could definitely benefit from it. It's an exciting offense. I like the NYGD Jets this year. So we got, Brees Hall. He's my RB2, for the year. He's a first round pick. You got Garrett Wilson, like you mentioned, quarterback proof. He's a back end one, early two. So like you get some heat there at the beginning of like your draft with Jets players. Um, let's see. I know I'm not interested in Mike Williams at all. He's going to get injured for sure.
Yeah.
And then love me some Malachi Corley. He's if you do yourself a favor, watch those highlights of him at WKU, and you'll see a dog. He's possible Debo 2.0. He calls himself the Yak King. I know Steve Smith has a good breakdown on him. It's just, will he get the opportunity? Who knows? And then I know a lot of people are saying Tyler Conklin, a good sleeper tight end. If you're, missed out on about everybody and, you're at the end of your draft and you just really need a tight end, Tyler Conklin might be a good guy there. So, but Garrett Wilson, I'm starting to like really come around on him because
Yes.
he'll, hopefully finally have a quarterback. This is what we wanted to see last year. And we were deprived of it four plays in. So,
Yeah.
and then also, one rule of thumb, I think I was just talking about this earlier. If you draft Brees Hall, you're spending a premium on him. I know we don't really handcuff like we used to, but handcuff with Braylon Allen. He's a beast. He, way different play style, but he would do really well. Just kind of plug in. He's not going to be Brees Hall, but he's going to be in a really good situation. So if you have the room to handcuff and you want that insurance policy, you still want some of that Jets action, then get yourself some Braylon Allen at the end.
Pick yourself up some Braylon Allen on the way out. Take it home. Serve it up to your family.
Serve it up to your family.
Yeah. So yeah, the Jets could be interesting. I mean, it's an obvious statement. It all hangs on Rodgers. Without Rodgers, the whole thing doesn't work. Just like last year. So, what do you? I'll let you think about it if you haven't thought about it. So I wrote mine down. I'm going to go real weird. I'm going to go with Rodgers does play a full season and it works out pretty good. So I'm going to go Jets 1, Dolphins 2, Bills 3.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
And Pates 4. Is that the same?
That's what I was thinking too. I was just the Jets, like it can't go like it went so bad last year and they were stuck with Zach Wilson, and I know they've had a rough life, but I think this is the year things get better for the Jets. I think they make the playoffs, maybe even make some noise there. But yeah, I mean, like the Bills, I feel like the Bills, like, they lost Diggs, they lost Gabe Davis, they lost that OC. They're moving more into like possible run team. So like them being third kind of feels wrong, but at the same time, like I don't know, I think the Dolphins have some unfinished business, and I think they get that second spot. And then the Patriots, Lord help them, they're just not. They might get fifth in that division, honestly.
Yeah, they could go real bad real quick. But yeah, I agree. Like, I think the Bills are just pretending it's all okay and like putting on a smile, but I think everyone knows it's not okay. Like, you
Oh
can't
yeah,
do
they're
that.
they're like we're fucked. Like they're not feeling good at all.
So between divisions, I guess we should do an ad between divisions here. So we don't have a new ad, but one of our old sponsors was like, "Yeah, run that back. Here's some money. Take all my money and run that back." So we're gonna run back an old ad. Yeah. So sit back and enjoy. Momentarily. There we go. All right. Ad incoming.
Hi, this is Boots Donnelly. When I'm not busy coaching the Blue Raiders, I like to drink a Pabst Blue Ribbon. So next time you're cracking a Paps, make sure you dedicate your next DUI to me, Boots Donnelly.
All right, thanks, Boots. What a guy.
Thanks, Boots.
What a guy, Boots. And Boots is alive and well, right?
Yeah,
Boots-
yeah. He has a statue in front of Johnny Red Floyd Stadium, but he's still alive. So, but he also lives on through NCAA football, the video game, or not in college football 2025 in Road to Glory because I created Boots Donnelly the fourth, his great grandson, going to school, 5-star elite athlete quarterback. And, nobody wanted him. I was so surprised. I felt rejected. Well, actually, everybody wanted. All the big schools wanted him, but the only one that mattered, Middle Tennessee State University, did not want him. They had a low interest level. They were like, everybody was promising me the moon, and they said he could be a second string quarterback.
Wow.
So I commit to MTSU. Like, I could have had a much easier road to glory, but I commit to MTSU, sit for about 7 weeks, watch our terrible quarterback lose like 3 games, and he even pulled off an upset against Duke, and I was like, "Shit, I'm never getting into the game now." And, anyway, but I just kept hitting the books, had a 3.8 GPA, and, eventually just beat him pretty bad, and now I'm the starter at MTSU. But they're kind of on some bullshit in year 2. Someone, I guess, took a picture. I went to that party with Audrey, and
Yeah.
like basically everybody like I don't know. Coach said somebody took a picture of me and sent it to him. So I'm wondering who snitched. So I'm kind of looking at that transfer portal now, and might take myself somewhere better. So we'll see.
Well, you can't even trust your teammates. They're out there snitching.
Yeah, I mean, my fucking great grandfather has a damn statue like right there, and I'm a 5-star quarterback in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Like you should be thanking me for even considering you guys,
This
and that's
is
the thanks I get.
the disrespect.
It's bullshit.
But yeah, Superfan Matt really appreciates Boots Donnelly. He's goated in Matt's opinion, and I think that's a good opinion to have. That's what you want.
Rest in peace, Boots Donnelly, but you're alive.
In his recliner at home right now.
Yeah,
Not dead.
enjoying listening to Fifth Quarter Fantasy Games.
If only.
Drink cracking at Pabst.
Divisional breakdown, NFC West. So we're going to start with the 49ers. So, obviously crazy dynamic team. All the people are there. Ayuk's still there. Like, Kittle's still there. McCaffrey's there. Purdy's there. I mean, it's the same team. The Ayuk drama, maybe that ends with him changing teams. It certainly seems like they're interested in moving him, but they want a pretty high price for him. It kind of sounds like some sort of fantasy trade where you're trading with someone who just wants way too much and you can't come to the same, can't get to the same place. It sounds like them and Ayuk. So who knows? I mean, do you want an Ayuk on your team who hates where he plays? I don't know. Does he produce? He had a great year last year. Like, he's been steadily getting better fantasy-wise. Maybe his attitude isn't as good, but fantasy's got a good attitude. So there's that looming over everything. And then really it's just, Purdy. Purdy just seems like such a nice late-round pickup. What do you think about that?
Very interesting situation. Like, it seems like I should be way more in on this team than I am. I'm probably like the only weirdo that's like not in on a lot of guys here. Purdy's someone that I don't know. I have my eye on other men, and I'm willing to expose myself to them. And but I'm looking to shy away from the Purd. So that's just me. That's just preference. But definitely, if you're into that sort of thing and you would like to expose yourself to them, you can definitely do that. He's affordable. Um, Debo, I watched, and I've never been a Debo guy, and that show Receiver, we've all watched it. Man, that guy gets hurt a lot. Like
Yeah.
every week.
Yeah.
And he may or may not play through it. And, I'm just not into that sort of thing. It makes me think of T. Higgins, like just trying to get through it, may or may not. So I mean, I don't know. I didn't like how hurt that guy got. He's a year older now. Ayuk, if best case scenario, he's Devontae Adams last year. Hated where he was at, but
Yeah.
still produced. Um, Although it be inconsistent at times where like you might get 2 points one week and then 45 the next week.
Yeah.
I don't see him being that volatile, um, but I mean, and then you got Ricky Pearsall already hurt in camp. He was impressive coming out of the combine and out of college and everything, but I mean, I'll talk about that running back room because I started to go off a little bit about CMC.
Yeah.
A lot of people's 1.1. But I'm hearing more and more and more and more people say that they're not going to take him at 1.1. And if you're not taking him at 1.1, who else has that opinion in your league too? I know I would kick it all the way down to like 1.8. Like, and that's not a popular opinion, but if you're and here's my argument for it. Um, think back like 2 years ago, Josh Jacobs, random, that he was like the league's top rusher, RB1 in fantasy, all that, and it felt weird. And but CMC, more of a pedigree there, more of someone that you expect that from. But he had all those carries, and then last year, people are drafting him thinking it's going to happen again, and he broke down. I think it's been shown that if you have over 400, 450 touches, you're not going to hold up that next year. So I worry about CMC's health like quite a bit. And he's 28 now. 28's the new 30 for running backs. Hell of a talent. I'm not doubting his talent or his situation at all or anything like that. It's more so just that workload that he endured last year. And do you bet on him to be healthy 3 years in a row after the guy was very injury prone before that? So I mean, CMC love the talent a lot, but I know I wouldn't take him till about 1.8. But I doubt that he falls that far in your league. But I mean, you got to think about it, like, and he's my running back 3. So he's still, highly regarded, still a first round pick, but he's not that 1.1 that, he's an extremely risky 1.1 when you think about it. You can take Bijan, you can take Brees Hall. I think there's about 5 guys that you can argue the 1.1 for. You can take Bijan, you can take Brees Hall. Who wouldn't want CD Lamb? Who wouldn't want Jamar Chase? Who wouldn't want Tyreek Hill? Who wouldn't want like just Amon Ra? Like just so many guys that you can have with less risk involved. And you are investing a premium, and if you're at the 1.1, you're waiting about 20 something picks until it comes back around. Do you want that one to be hurt and then you have the 20th best player off the board as your top player? That's crazy. So you're kind of setting yourself up for failure if you really think about it. But if you do take CMC, in that first round, be prepared to handcuff. I know he's had some guys banged up behind him. I like Isaac Morendo as the guy to emerge there. Eli Mitchell always shows up like he's super solid as a backup. So if he truly is like that number 2 there, that's who you would handcuff there. And again, this is last pick in the draft insurance policy for that CMC pick. Um, you know, George Kittle, I'm starting to really come around on though. I do like me some George Kittle as a good tight end. And he's someone I've never had before, but never noticed just how damn consistent he is, how he fights through injury. Um, Love that. And just he's also a very likable person, really cool guy. So I mean, yeah, that's where I'm at with the 49ers. You would think I'd be more in on them, but one of those where there's just so many mouths to feed, and it's like kind of pick your week. It'll all end up being okay probably, but I don't know. Usually there's just other players I like it at the current ADP of the players on the 49ers.
Well, they were so you could tell they were so all in last year to get that Super Bowl. I could see a letdown this year, even though you want to be to the same intensity as you were. It's really hard to like push that hard and then lose again. I mean, we're talking they've been to the Super Bowl, they've sniffed the Super Bowl for like 5, 6 years now and just can't get it done. So
Yeah.
I could see a letdown this year, whether that means injuries, whether that means poor play, or just age catching up with some of those guys. And then you add Ayuk, who's like their upcoming youthful, steady receiver, and then they got issues with that guy.
He's
Even
their
if
sweet prince.
like he's missing out on good time to like gel and mesh and all that. You can't just like say that stuff doesn't make its way onto the field because I think it does.
And, and I've heard the more like you delay going to camp and everything, like the more likely it is for injury just because you're not in football shape and everybody else is. So that's worrisome. I don't know. I kind of hope he gets traded because then I'd be probably more in on Ayuk. Um, but but yeah, I mean, he's a good receiver. I think he's the true one over there. Debo just scares me with those injuries. I
yeah,
don't know. Just I'm not into that sort of thing, I guess.
yeah, he plays so hard. He plays in a way where you just get injured. That's just how he plays. So it's hard to
Yeah,
get.
I hate that he plays hard.
Yeah, like run out of bounds. Just run out of bounds. It's fine.
Yeah.
So the Cardinals up next. So this is going to be Kyler Murray's first full year in 2 years since he got injured. So we saw last year he came in well over halfway through the fantasy season and had somewhat of an impact. If he could have been your QB2 in a super flex league, or a spot start here and there. He always has that running ability. So be interested to see a full, he had a full postseason, a full training camp, full preseason, and then hopefully has a full season. So Kyler Murray could be an interesting quarterback at the back end of your draft. He's got new fun. He's got a new fun wide receiver to throw to at MHJ, and everyone's excited to see what happens there. Shout out Joe Bennett, MHJ, MHJ. That's all I can think about when I say it. I just can't help it. So, and so yeah, the
MHJ will be on his team on Saturday.
yeah. And so between Kyler having a full year and MHJ, and then and then Trey McBride.
He wants to give MHJ an HJ.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Oh man, I knew Joe was that second watcher. I was just trying to. I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was Joe or my father, so it was like,
I
like that my dad's sometimes one of our watchers, and like sometimes we're like kind of being gross, but he's still subscribed.
He appreciates it. So yeah, what do you think about the Cards? And yeah, I was talking about Trey McBride. Like he's gonna be more expensive this year, but is he still a good pick? He's got more talent to spread the ball to this year, so maybe Trey McBride isn't the same guy as last year.
Yeah, I fucks with Trey McBride though. Like I like him a lot. I traded with Superfan Matt for him. In a dynasty in the Butt Cheese Boy Invitational. Definitely someone who's got that. I don't know. You're really looking for like that tight end one. And there's only about 6, 7 guys that are that. He's in that good group, right? So, and he's young, he's sexy. He's got. I think he has nice hair. He's not balding or anything like Brock Bowers. So. Trey McBride, I like him a lot. Kyler Murray, I think it's criminal that he's going, QB 10, 11, 12, but then you list off the quarterbacks and it kind of makes sense. So but, Kyler Murray, definitely somebody with that QB1 upside. He's got that rushing upside that you look for. He's a video game. He's a video game player. Unfortunately, there is a new Call of Duty coming out this year, I think. So make sure that you around the time that comes out, like if you've drafted Kyler Murray, capitalize, trade him for a premium and then just leave him with somebody else. So because once that Call of Duty comes out, his stats are going to get really bad. Because his priorities are going to change. It's kind of like a lot of players when they have a kid,
Yeah.
they tend to play better. I don't know, they have more to play for. When Call of Duty comes out, Tyler has less to play for. So it's just taking away time from the game. So I mean MHJ, excited about him. Apparently he looks very I'm not like Joe excited, but I'm still excited. Because it's exciting anytime a new player comes into the league. Apparently he's looked very fluid with everything. It's him and Trey McBride, and then you got James Conner. You still got James Conner there. And then they drafted Trey Benson. I think that's an interesting move.
Yeah.
Really only two notable running backs to speak of in the draft with like real. I mean, you can maybe throw Jalen Wright in there as well, but I mean Trey Benson, I see him taking over that backfield whenever James Conner does get hurt. Again, predicting a fifth injury this episode. So James Conner will have an electric start. And then he'll break down like he usually does. Trey Benson will have that window of opportunity. I think he seizes it. I think he takes it and runs with it. So, Arizona Cardinals. I don't know. I think they're still going to lose a shit ton of games, but they might be pretty fantasy relevant.
Yeah. I think that's their theme. Just
Yeah.
maybe a little more fantasy relevant than last year. Probably not very different on the scoreboard, but
you might be able to depend on three guys.
Yeah, which is nice in this world. So Seahawks are next. Seahawks, very similar offense last year. Still rocking. Why am I blanking on the quarterback? Still rocking.
Is it Geno?
Yeah, still rocking Geno at the quarterback.
Not Geno Auriemma, Geno Smith.
And you got Ken Walker in the background, running the ball, and JSN and Lockett and the other guy. Like everybody's there. So everybody's there. The only person who's not there is Pete Carroll. So, what do you think about the Seahawks? Who are you effing with on the Seahawks?
I'm starting to really, really come around on more DK Metcalf. Hate Tyler Lockett. He's the biggest butt cheese boy I've ever seen. And we know I have a personal vendetta against Tyler Lockett because he's that pick that whoever takes him just doesn't know who to pick. They're like, I guess I'll take Tyler Lockett. And then whenever I play Kevin that week, he'll have his one game where he scores 36 points on a Monday night and ends up beating him whenever he's averaged 3 points per game. Because that's who Tyler Lockett is. He waits for the Kevin game, and that's whenever he goes off. Once per year, maybe twice. So, yeah, Tyler Lockett, yeah, you know my opinion on him. JSN, I'm wondering, is it comeback season for him, or is he gonna become a butt cheese boy this year?
Yeah. I think that's good. This year will be big to understand what's happening with him. It seems like he's had a good off season, so hopefully he takes that step. But he had a lot of expectations last year, and it wasn't much. But is that his fault? Are expectations his fault? Or did he actually just develop like a normal rookie would develop? So I think this year will tell us. They're going to I mean, they're going to need to rely on him more as Metcalf and Lockett are aging, and those two aren't going to be on. Again, both of those guys aren't going to be on the team next year. One or the other is going to be on the team next year. So JSN better be moving forward. So if something's going to happen, do we know the answer to Joe's question? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Ohio State. He's
Oh,
one of
okay.
those. I don't know. Where do you think he went?
I figured that was the only reason he was asking that. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Ohio State University.
And Ken Walker in the backfield. We were Ken Walker guys from the get go. His efficiency seems to have gone down a little bit, but was still a good running back to have last
I
year.
like him. I still like him. I tried to be a Charbonnet guy last year. I think I don't know. There was one hype tape that I really just got glued to. It was it had a really cool song in the background, and anyway, he when he was at UCLA, and I was like, oh man, like, and he's one of those guys. Whenever he came out, it was like, man, anywhere but the Seahawks. And then he goes somewhere where he's behind Kenneth Walker, who's only 1 year older. So like horrible for dynasty. Like he probably would have been going like in the 1-2 to 1-4 range in your drafts, your rookie drafts. But I mean, Zach Charbonnet, I don't think he got, the run that he should have gotten. And who knows? I don't know. Let's be honest, Kenneth Walker's better.
Yeah.
I think I've finally come to terms on that. And so, we got Kenneth Walker there. Love K9. He's a really good running back. And also I think he's going to get more chances to catch the ball out of the backfield than he has in the past. I do know that the big change in Seattle is, new coaching regime, and apparently I think it's guys from Washington University. So, the Washington University. So how they like to air that out with Michael Penis and Roma Dunze and Jalen Polk and Jalen McMillan. And so, basically they love airing it out. So that could be going to the likes of DK, JSN, Tyler Lockett a couple times a year. Kenneth Walker.
Maybe
Freddie
Noah
Wither.
Fant. Noah Fant goes off just for
Yeah,
fun.
Noah Fant, maybe, if you have like a 20-round draft, like look at Noah Fant a little bit. So yeah, I mean Seattle, they do have kind of a new regime, kind of like the Titans have, but I think the Titans are going to be better. But yeah, I mean that's where the Seahawks are at right now.
Okay, so last one is the Rams. And so for me, there's two questions with the Rams. It's, are you a believer in Kyron Part 2? Or, McVay is very much just like, I don't give a rip who the running back is. I can just get it done with whatever running back. So there's that. And then there's, is it Puka, is it Cup, or is it both of them? I feel like those are the two big questions with the Rams.
Lots of question marks around the LA Lambs. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'll start with Kyron Williams. I still don't believe. I I don't know. I know he showed us a lot last year, but I'm not drafting the guy. And that's just personal preference. Like usually I think of myself to be pretty right most of the time on these things, but who doesn't think they're right most of the time? But I mean, Kyron Williams, he just I don't know. He was kind of a random running back who he was like the only guy there, and that's why, like, because there's nothing that jumps out at you with his athleticism or anything. Like, he was just in a good situation. Um, and it was like, because it's like, all right, Kyron Williams or who was Daryl Henderson the starter before? Like old ass Daryl Henderson,
Well,
or was it someone else?
he got pissed off at
Cam
that one
Akers.
guy. Yeah, and that's how it all got started.
Yeah.
And then Daryl Henderson was there whenever Kyron was hurt.
Yeah.
But then once Kyron was back, it was like, all right, here's 25 to 30 carries a game. Here we go.
Yeah.
Like
So,
no
I
one
mean,
gets that.
yeah, I think there's definitely some regression coming Kyron's way. He's on,
And they
he's
got
on.
Blake Corum.
Yeah, he's also they drafted Blake Corum, so like that's the next guy, and they just cycle through these guys every other year. So, I know I'd like for a while, like Sean McVay, he was kind of looking like the Bill Belichick of like running back committees,
Uh-huh.
and because I remember it was like I think it was 2020 or 2021. I was a big Daryl Henderson guy, very excited to have him. I was like, yes, like I got like an RB1 that like I picked up off waivers. And then he suffered from COVID-19 for a few days and completely lost his job. And I was like, well, don't get sick if you're a Sean McVay running back. Um, so I mean, I don't believe in Kyron Williams. I don't think it's there again. Who knows? Maybe I get proven wrong, but I don't know. It's probably the backfield I'm staying away from, and there's just other guys that I like more at that average draft position. Guys that I can just go a different direction in. I can use my mid second round pick somewhere else. So probably just staying away from that backfield overall.
All right.
And
And
then
so what
the
about Puka and Cup or both?
I don't know. I'm glad Van Jefferson's not a thing anymore. Um, uh, let's see. I mean, I go Puka. He is the more expensive guy though. I mean, you're probably pretty comfortable with Cup as your wide receiver too, getting him in like the fourth round.
Yeah.
Um, I know Puka had a little bit of an injury and Cup's really shown out this preseason. Um, but Cup's 40 years old
Yeah.
and he's very elderly and Puka chews electric.
Yeah.
He's a sweet prince. One thing that feels weird about Puka is he's someone that you're, drafting in the last round last year, someone that you're drafting pretty late in rookie drafts, or he for a lot of people a waiver wire pickup. And now it feels weird if you were one of those guys that was in on him and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I gotta spend a first rounder on him now. Sort of like how St. Brown gets more and more and more expensive every year. And
Yeah.
if you were in on him from the beginning, it kind of feels wrong. It's like, oh, I'm not getting a discount. I'm paying up for knowing about this guy for so long.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I tend to go Puka just over Cooper Cup. I know what Cooper Cup is. He's great. I don't believe in the health of Cooper Cup. I think his cup runneth over with injuries. Um, and Pikachu's just too cute to pass on. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anyone can get injured at any time, but
yeah.
age is going to determine a lot of times how quickly someone comes back from that injury. So Puka and Cup could have the exact same injury, and one person comes back in 2 weeks, and the other person comes back in 5 weeks. So you even because people will be like, oh, you don't worry about injuries, whatever. Anyone can be injured at any time, and it's like, yeah, that's true, but age determines your bounce back. So if they're both injury prone, which they're not. Like Puka hasn't shown any injury proneness. He's just getting banged up a little bit here and there, but not like Cup, who missed a whole
Yeah.
season just about. So yeah, Rams will be interesting. I mean, I don't know how much longer Matt Stafford's going to play. I don't know how
That's
much
your boy.
longer. I don't know how much longer Sean McVay is going to coach. Like this whole thing could just like go away. But yeah, I saw that. I saw that little highlight where like Stafford caught his own pass in training
Oh
camp.
yeah.
And I was just like,
Proud.
yes. And it only had like when I checked, it only had like 18 comments, and I was like, this needs like 200 comments. So why does it not have enough comments on it? But
Yeah.
yeah, always a
And I
Stafford.
mean, it's I don't know, like, the Rams are, kind of a gamble. And if you like to gamble, make sure you go over to Underdog Fantasy, use code Fifth Quarter Fantasy, and Underdog will match your deposit up to $100. And if you put 50, they'll match it, $50. Whatever you feel like doing, make sure you bet the mortgage and join a best ball draft today. Use code 5th Quarter Fantasy.
Pick yourself up a free T-shirt on the way out.
And get yourself a handful of Chex Mix.
So, NFC West predictions. This is kind of a weird division to predict because it seems like Seattle, Rams, and Arizona are all very similar teams in just like their kind of outlook for the season. But everyone slept on the Rams last year and ended up having a pretty good year. So I've got San Francisco 1, Rams 2, Arizona 3, Seattle 4, having trouble that first year with the new coaching system. So what do you got?
Well, I don't want to miss. We have 4 viewers right now. We haven't had that many in a while.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. Yeah, we'll go 49ers 1. I was about to say the wheels are going to fall off in San Francisco, but that's too crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go 49ers 1. We're going to go Seahawks 2.
Okay.
New regime comes up.
Yeah.
We are going to go LA Rams 3, a very close 3.
Okay.
And then Arizona Cardinals fizzle out toward the end of the year because the new Call of Duty comes out and Kyler Murray's busy playing that.
Man, they're going to cheese it again. 2 years in a row, dead last in their division.
Yeah. I mean, it's the new Call of Duty, so, you got to prioritize.
They gotta like release that shit like in July. They gotta quit doing that.
Right. Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, they're gonna put Kyler Murray on the Call of Duty cover. Like if he keeps this shit up. It'll look like a Madden cover, but it just says Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Like I feel like everything's Black Ops 3. Like they have the same titles for all these Call of Duties. I don't know which one, like the chronological order. I have no idea what was released last year and what was released the year before that or anything.
We're not Call of Duty boys. We're Madden boys.
Yeah, we're Madden boys and college football boys.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and some, well, it's been about 10 years, but 2K is fun for basketball.
So there's another one in the books next week. NFC North with Peepaw, who's going to go on and on about his Lions, and who wouldn't go on and on about the Lions? They're like the best team to have fantasy players on. So we'll probably dedicate a whole half hour just to Lions talk. So.
So come watch the Lions preview and the rest of the NFC North.
So, well, let's test you and see if you remember our end slogan. It's been a week, so let's just make sure you know what to do at the end of the show.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you do these 5 things before next Monday's episode. Make sure that you live, laugh, love, like, subscribe. 5th Quarter Fantasy Cast. I'm Dr. Dry. That's Coach B. Sweet.
Space between the song of